Aaron never thought his quiet space journey would change his life forever. His small ship, the Horizon, was only meant for short-range exploration. He enjoyed simple things, checking star maps, recording strange rocks, and sometimes listening to old Earth music while drifting through the endless dark. Life was peaceful, and he liked it that way. On this day, however, the calm was broken. His scanner beeped with a signal, faint but steady. Aaron frowned and leaned closer to the screen. It wasn't a star, not an asteroid either. It was something, moving very slowly, as if lost. Strange, he whispered to himself. Few ships ever passed this region, and almost none sent signals so weak. He tapped a few controls, and the computer enhanced the image. His eyes widened. It was a shuttle, small, badly damaged, and spinning slowly in the void. The hull was burned, part of it cracked, and one of the engines was broken completely. For a moment, Aaron hesitated. He wasn't a soldier, not a hero. From the old Earth tales, he was just one human with one small ship. What if it was dangerous? What if there were traps? But then another beep came. This time, it wasn't the scanner. It was a distress signal, weak but clear. Someone was still alive inside. Aaron clenched his fists. If someone is out there, I can't just leave them. Carefully, he steered the Horizon closer. His ship shuddered as the broken shuttle drifted near. He extended a docking arm, locking it in place with a metallic clang. The shuttle was silent. No lights, no sign of power. He put on his suit and floated across the small passage. The airlock hissed as he entered the alien craft. The smell was strange, burnt metal mixed with something sweet, almost floral. The walls were curved, glowing faintly with patterns he didn't recognize. Inside it was dark. His helmet light cut through the shadows until it stopped on a figure. Aaron froze. Lying against the wall was a girl. No, not human, but clearly alive. Her skin glowed faintly with silver tones, like moonlight caught in crystal. Her hair flowed around her like threads of light, and her breathing was shallow, uneven. She was trapped inside a cracked seat, her arm pinned by fallen debris. Aaron's heart raced. He had seen many strange life forms in books, but never this close. She looked fragile, like a glass figure that might shatter with one wrong move. He rushed forward, gently lifting the broken panel off her arm. She groaned softly, eyes fluttering open. For a moment, glowing blue irises met his, filled with confusion and fear. "It's okay," Aaron said, though he doubted she understood his language. He pointed at himself. "Aaron." Then he gestured to her, waiting. Her lips moved weakly. "Leora." The sound was soft, musical, almost like a bell. Then she coughed, and her eyes closed again. Aaron quickly checked her seat. Her life support unit was broken, leaking faint sparks. If he didn't act fast, she wouldn't survive. With shaking hands, Aaron connected a portable oxygen tube from his suit to her mask. The monitor on his wrist beeped as her breathing grew steadier. "Hang in there," he whispered. "You're going to be fine." He lifted her carefully, carrying her back toward the horizon. She was surprisingly light, as if her body was less dense than a human's. Every step echoed in the silent shuttle until the airlock closed behind them. Back on. His ship, Iran, placed her gently in the medical bay. His ship wasn't advanced, but it had enough equipment to stabilize her. The scanner showed weak vitals, but improving. She was alive. Aaron sat down, exhausted but relieved. He studied her again, curious. Her skin shimmered faintly even in sleep, her breathing calming with each passing minute. Whoever she wasn't just another traveler. She seemed like someone from a people far beyond his understanding. For a long while, Aaron simply watched her, wondering what kind of life she came from. Why had her shuttle been damaged? Who had attacked her, or was it an accident? He leaned back, sighing. All I wanted was a quiet trip, and now I've brought home an alien girl. Still, he felt no regret. A life was a life, and leaving her behind wasn't an option. Somewhere deep inside, he felt that this single act of kindness was only the beginning of something much larger. He didn't know how or why, but the stars outside seemed to glow just a little brighter, as if the universe itself was watching. And for the first time in his life, Aaron wondered if peace and quiet were truly meant for him, or if fate had just set him on a path far greater than he had ever imagined. When Leora opened her eyes again, she was no longer in her broken shuttle. Soft lights glowed above her, and the air around her was warm and clean. She blinked slowly, confused at first, until she saw Aaron sitting nearby, watching with quiet concern. For a moment, neither spoke. Her eyes were bright blue, shimmering faintly like starlight. Aaron shifted nervously in his seat. "You're safe now," he said softly. "This is my ship. I found you drifting." Leora tilted her head, not understanding every word, but the tone was clear. She gave a small nod and tried to sit up. Aaron hurried to support her, adjusting the pillow behind her back. "Careful," he said. "You were hurt." Her voice was weak but gentle. "You helped me." Aaron smiled awkwardly. "Couldn't leave you out there." For a while, silence filled the small medical bay, broken only by the steady hum of the horizon. Aaron wondered what she thought of him. To him, she was extraordinary, shining skin, glowing eyes, almost unreal. But to her, he was probably plain, just a human in simple clothes with tired eyes from too many nights in space. Finally, Leora whispered, "Home. Must return. Sisters waiting." Aaron raised his brows. "Sisters." She nodded faintly, closing her eyes as if even speaking took effort. Aaron leaned back, letting her rest. His mind raced. She had family out there, maybe a whole people waiting for her. He couldn't imagine what they must be thinking while she was lost. The next day, when her strength returned a little, Leora guided him with weak gestures to input her homeworld's coordinates. Aaron studied the star map. It was far, tucked near a cluster of systems he had never dared to travel before. "This is where you live?" he asked. She gave a small smile. "Yes. You take me?" Aaron hesitated. His original plan had been to spend weeks mapping asteroid fields in the opposite direction. He had supplies for himself, not for passengers. But when he looked at her hopeful eyes, he sighed. "All right," he said. "I'll take you home." The journey took days. During that time, Leora regained her strength slowly. Aaron learned little, pieces about her, even though their languages were different. She pointed at the stars, naming them softly in her tongue. She showed him a pendant she carried, shaped like a crystal flower, explaining it was a gift from her sisters. And sometimes, when she grew tired, she would simply listen as Aaron told her stories of Earth, blue oceans, green forests, and the way humans celebrated simple things like music and food. Though they barely understood each other, a quiet bond formed between them. Finally, the horizon approached her world. Aaron's eyes widened as the planet filled his view screen. It was breathtaking. Clouds of silver mist wrapped around oceans that shimmered like liquid light. Great towers rose from islands across the surface, their designs elegant, almost like they were carved from living crystal. Leora's eyes lit up. Home. Aaron guided the ship toward the largest city. He was nervous. What if her people disliked humans? What if they thought he had done something wrong? Still, he reminded himself, he had only done what was right. When they landed, the docking bay was already full of figures waiting. 3 women rushed forward the moment the hatch opened. Aaron barely had time to step aside, as Leora was embraced tightly by them. Her sisters. They were as striking as she was, each glowing faintly with that same silver light, but different in their own ways. The eldest, Seren, stood tall with long, flowing hair and calm, steady eyes. The second, Nyla, wore curious gadgets on her wrists and looked around Aaron's ship with fascination. The youngest, Vera, had a sharper gaze, her stance strong like a warrior's. "Leora!" Serene's voice trembled with relief. "We feared the worst." Leora smiled weakly. "I am safe, thanks to him." She pointed toward Aaron. For the first time, all 3 sisters looked at him. Aaron suddenly felt very small under their gaze. He raised a hand awkwardly. Hi." Seren stepped forward gracefully. "You are the one who saved her?" "Yes," Aaron said. "I found her. Shuttle. I only did what anyone should do." But the sisters didn't see it as only. They bowed their heads slightly, an expression of deep respect in their culture. "You carried her through the void," Seren said. "For that, we owe you more than words." Aaron scratched his neck, embarrassed. "Really, it was nothing. I just couldn't leave her." Nyla leaned closer, eyes sparkling with curiosity. "You are human, yes? I have read of your people but never met one. How did you repair her life support with such limited tools?" Aaron shrugged. "I just patched it together. Duct tape and luck, mostly." She laughed lightly, as if amazed by such simplicity. Then Vera crossed her arms, studying him with suspicion but also respect. "You are brave. Few would risk boarding a dying craft in the dark of space." Aaron raised his hands. "I didn't think about bravery. I just thought, if it were me, I'd want someone to help." The sisters exchanged glances. It was clear to them that this human was different. Direct, unpretentious, and strangely admirable. Aaron, however, only wanted to return quietly to his ship. But as the sisters continued to question him, smile at him, and thank him, he had a sinking feeling. Something told him this was not the end of his journey. In fact, it felt more like the beginning. Aaron had planned to leave the very next day. His job was exploration, not politics, not attention, and certainly not dealing with an alien royal family. He had already done his part. He rescued Leora, brought her home, and made sure she was safe. To him, that was enough. But leaving turned out to be much harder than he thought. When he returned to the horizon to prepare for departure, Seren, the eldest sister, was already waiting near the ship. She carried herself with the calm dignity of a leader. her long silver hair flowing in the soft breeze of their world's atmosphere. "You are leaving so soon?" she asked, her voice gentle but firm. Aaron rubbed the back of his neck. "Well, yes, I've got a lot of work to finish. Star maps don't update themselves." Serene stepped closer, her eyes steady on him. "You saved our sister's life. It would be dishonorable if we allowed you to depart without proper gratitude." Aaron opened his mouth to argue, but before he could, another voice interrupted. "Gratitude is not enough," Nyla said, walking toward them. She wore a belt full of curious devices, tools, scanners, things Aaron couldn't begin to identify. Her eyes sparkled with curiosity as she studied him. "I want to understand how you managed to keep Leora alive with such limited technology. Human engineering seems messy, but somehow effective." Aaron chuckled nervously. "Messy is a good word for it. I just used what I had." Nyla leaned closer, fascinated. "You must show me, please. I wish to see your ship's systems." Before Aaron could reply, a third figure appeared, Vera, the youngest, her posture strong and direct. She carried what looked like a training spear on her back, and her sharp eyes fixed on him like a hawk spotting prey. "Why do you leave so quickly?" she asked. "Is our hospitality not enough?" Aaron held up his hands. No, your hospitality is wonderful. I don't belong here." Vera narrowed her eyes. "You are brave, human. Few would risk the darkness to save someone not of their kind. That means something. And if it means something, then you should stay." Aaron sighed. 3 sisters, 3 different reasons, all pressing him to remain. Seren spoke of honor, Neela of curiosity, and Vera of respect for courage. And all 3 looked at him as though leaving was simply not an option. He glanced back at his ship. It was small, plain and familiar, the quiet life he wanted. But when he looked again at the sisters, standing together with such intensity, he realized he was caught in something far beyond his control. Later that day, Leora herself visited him. She was still recovering, but her steps were steadier now. When she saw him, she smiled warmly. "You go?" she asked softly. Aaron nodded. That was the plan. Leora tilted her head, then looked at her sisters who lingered nearby. She laughed, gently. "They will not let you," Aaron groaned. "I noticed." That evening, Seren invited him to their family hall. It was a grand place, built from glowing crystal that seemed alive, humming faintly with energy. At the center was a long table filled with foods Aaron had never seen, fruits that shimmered, bread that glowed faintly, and drinks that sparkled like liquid stars. The sisters sat with him, each taking turns asking questions. Seren asked about humanity's values, about why he risked himself for someone he didn't know. Nyla wanted details of Earth machines, scribbling notes excitedly whenever he explained something. Vera tested him with sharp questions, almost like challenges, as if measuring his spirit. Aaron answered as best he could. He kept his words simple, honest. He explained that humans weren't the strongest nor the smartest, but they always tried to help each other. That sometimes, even without great power, one person could make a difference. The sisters listened closely. For them, such a perspective was unusual. Their people valued structure, rules, and careful plans. Yet here was a human who acted simply because it was the right thing to do, without expecting reward or recognition. As the night went on, Aaron grew more uncomfortable, not because they were unkind, far from it, but their attention was overwhelming. Every time he spoke, their eyes lit up with fascination. Every simple story about Earth seemed to impress them, even when he thought it was boring. Finally, when the meal ended, Seren spoke. "Aaron, you must understand. By saving Leora, you did not just rescue our sister. You showed us something rare, something we had almost forgotten." "What's that?" he asked cautiously. "Selfless courage," Seren replied. "Acting not for gain, but because it is right. That is why we cannot let you vanish back into the stars. You have a place here now." Aaron froze. "A place here?" That sounded permanent. Too permanent. "I think you misunderstand," he said carefully. "I'm just an explorer. I didn't mean to be anything more than that." But the sisters exchanged knowing looks, as if his words meant little compared to their own decision. As he walked back to the horizon that night, Aaron sighed heavily. He had only wanted a quiet, ordinary journey. But now, 3 powerful sisters watched him closely, each with their own reasons for keeping him near. For the first time, Aaron realized the truth. Saving Leora had not ended his adventure. It had only begun. Aaron had hoped the sisters' attention would fade after a few days. He imagined that once Leora recovered, they would be busy with their own lives, and he could quietly leave. But he was wrong. Their interest only grew stronger, and soon he learned why. One morning, Seren visited him with a serious expression. Her calm eyes no longer carried the gentle warmth of gratitude, but instead a weight of responsibility. "Aaron," she said, "there is something you must know. Our world is under pressure from the Zoran Empire." Aaron frowned. "Zoran Empire?" "They are powerful," Seren explained. "They rule many systems and demand that weaker worlds submit. They already sent warnings to us. Soon they may send warships." Aaron felt his stomach tighten. "That sounds bad, but what does it have to do with me?" Seren looked directly at him. "Because you are human. You think differently. We believe you may help us." Aaron almost laughed. "Me? I'm not a soldier. I'm not a strategist. I'm just an explorer with a small ship and a toolkit that barely works." But before Seren could reply, Nyla rushed in, carrying a glowing pad filled with diagrams. "Sister, wait. Aaron, I studied your ship last night. The way you repaired Leora's life support, simple, fast, effective. It was something our engineers would never think to do. You do not follow rules, yet it works. That is what we need." Aaron rubbed his face. "You're saying you want me to—" "What? Fight your war?" Vera entered then, standing tall with her training spear strapped to her back. Her sharp voice cut through the room. "Not fight, guide. The Zoran Empire expects us to think like them. But if we use your unpredictable human ideas, we may resist them." Aaron shook his head. "You're giving me too much credit. I just patch holes and keep my ship running." But Leora, who had been quiet until now, touched his arm gently. Her voice was soft, but clear. "You saved me, when no one else was there. You will know what to do again." Aaron looked at her glowing blue eyes and sighed deeply. Somehow, despite all his protests, he knew he wouldn't be able to walk away. Later that day, he was brought before the council of their people. The hall was vast, with tall arches that shimmered like frozen light. Dozens of elders sat in rows, their faces serious. At the center stood the three sisters, with Aaron awkwardly at their side. Serene spoke first. "We bring before you Aaron, a human traveler. He saved our sister and proved that even without great power, he could act with courage. We believe he can help us against the Zoran Empire." Murmurs filled the hall. Many of the elders frowned. A few looked curious, but most were doubtful. Aaron cleared his throat. He had no great speech prepared, but he couldn't stand silent. "I think you should know the truth. I'm not a hero. I'm not a warrior. I'm just a man who didn't want someone to die in space. If you're expecting miracles, I don't have them. But maybe I can give you ideas. Humans are good at that. When we don't have enough, we find another way." The room was quiet. Then Nyla stepped forward, showing her diagrams. "Already Aaron gave me an idea. He suggested using asteroid fragments as shields to block attacks before they hit our cities. No one here has thought of this before." More murmurs filled the hall. Some elders leaned forward, whispering to each other. Then Vera added, "He thinks not like us, not like the Zoran. That is his strength." Still, many were not convinced. One elder stood and said, "Why should we trust an outsider with the fate of our world?" Aaron felt heat rise in his face. He wanted to step back, to leave this hall and return to his ship, but then he remembered Leora, lying helpless in that broken shuttle, and how close she had been to death. He remembered how he couldn't turn away then, and he couldn't turn away now. "I don't ask you to trust me," Aaron said, "but I'll try, because if the Zoran take your world, they won't stop there. Someday, they might reach mine, and if we can stop them here, then maybe it's worth it." The hall fell silent. Slowly, Seren nodded. "Then it is decided. Aaron will advise us." Aaron blinked. "Wait, what? Already? No vote?" Seren gave a small smile. "The council has heard enough. You are chosen." Aaron groaned softly. He had wanted peace, quiet, and solitude. Instead, he had been pushed into the role of advisor to an alien world facing an empire. As he left the council hall, the sisters walked beside him, each with their own expression. Seren calm and certain, Nyla excited and full of questions, Vera serious and watchful. "You see?" Leora whispered to him, her voice full of quiet trust. "Fate brought you here." Aaron sighed. Fate really has a strange sense of humor. But deep inside, he knew the truth. Whether he wanted it or not, he had accepted the challenge. And now, the eyes of an entire world were upon him. Aaron woke before dawn, the faint glow of the twin suns spilling across the horizon. Today would be his first real test. Not just giving advice, but actually helping the sisters prepare for the Zoran Empire. He rubbed his eyes, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. Seren was already waiting by the edge of the training fields. "Are you ready?" she asked, her calm voice carrying authority. Aaron hesitated. "Ready? I don't know. I've never commanded anything like this before. I've fixed machines, yes, but armies, strategies, that's new." Serene nodded. "Then start small. Show us one thing a human would do differently." Nyla joined them, carrying her glowing pad filled with schematics of their city's defenses. He said something about asteroid shields. she reminded the sisters. We could test that today. Vera appeared with a small squad of trainees, young warriors eager to prove themselves. Let's see what the human thinks, she said with a grin. Aaron looked around, his mind racing. He needed a simple plan, something practical yet unexpected. Then he remembered a trick he often used on his expeditions, redirecting existing resources instead of building new ones. Here's what we'll do, he said. Instead of trying to stop the Zoran attack directly, we'll protect the city by creating layers. First, move small asteroids into orbit. They'll act as shields. Second, set up decoys on the ground to distract enemy sensors. Third, position our forces where they can strike quickly if anything gets through. Soren's eyes widened. Using asteroids as shields? Risky, but ingenious. Nyla's fingers flew over her pad, drawing diagrams as Aaron explained. We'll need to calculate the exact speed and angle for each fragment. Too fast, it'll break apart. Too slow, and it won't block the path. Aaron nodded. I can show you. It's just physics, basic motion. Nothing too fancy, but it works. Vera stepped forward. And our fighters? Use the distraction, Aaron said. Don't confront the enemy directly at first. Wait, observe, strike when it's most unexpected. For hours they worked. Aaron guided them, showing how to calculate the asteroid trajectories, how to set up decoys that mimicked city energy patterns, and how to train the young warriors to respond with speed and flexibility. By afternoon, the city was transformed. Tiny. Asteroids floated in a protective belt around the main population zones. Decoys hummed with energy across the streets, and small squads moved silently, ready to respond. Serene examined the setup with a critical eye. I admit I would never have thought of this. It is clever. Nyla's excitement was almost visible as sparks of light danced around her hands. Aaron, you really think this can stop the Zoran ships? Aaron shrugged. It won't stop everything, but it will confuse them, slow them down, and give you a chance to respond. Humans call it improvisation. Vera finally nodded, her sharp gaze approving. I see now why the sisters trust you. You think differently. That is strength. When night fell, the sisters and Aaron stood on the city walls, looking at the orbiting asteroids. The soft glimmer of reflected sunlight made them seem alive, a silent shield ready to protect the world below. You've done something amazing today, Leora whispered, coming up behind him. The city is safe, at least for now. Aaron smiled, faintly. We'll see. Zoran ships are powerful, but maybe, just maybe, a human idea can surprise them. As they spoke, a distant glow appeared on the horizon, an approaching fleet. Red lights flickered in the distance, the unmistakable signature of Zoran warships. Aaron's heart beat faster. This was no longer a drill. The test had begun. Soren's voice was calm but firm. Aaron, it is time. We trust your plan. Lead us. Aaron swallowed hard, then looked at the sisters. Their confidence gave him courage. All right, he said. Follow my instructions exactly. Stay calm and don't panic. Humans have a saying, expect the unexpected. That's what we'll do. The first Zoran ships appeared, sleek and deadly against the blackness of space. But when they approached the asteroid shield, confusion spread across their fleet. The fragments blocked their energy beams and sent some ships off course. Small decoys on the ground triggered false alarms in their sensors. Aaron's heart raced. Now, he shouted. Squads move to strike positions. Aim for the weak points. Avoid their strongest defenses." The young warriors obeyed perfectly, striking quickly and retreating before the enemy could respond. Neela monitored energy patterns, adjusting asteroid positions as Aaron directed. Seren coordinated the city defenses, and Vera led the warriors, with precision. By the end of the night, the Zoran fleet had withdrawn, frustrated and confused. The city remained intact, largely because of one human who thought differently. One man whose simple improvisational ideas had turned the tide. Aaron leaned against the wall, exhausted but satisfied. Leora joined him, smiling softly. "You really are something special, Aaron." Aaron shook his head with a faint laugh. "I'm not special. I just didn't give up when it mattered." Seren approached, her silver hair glinting in the starlight. "Your human ingenuity saved lives today. That is special enough." And for the first time, Aaron felt something he hadn't expected. He was not just a visitor or an explorer. He had become part of something greater, a force that could protect an entire world. The victory over the first wave of Zoran ships gave the city a moment of relief, but Aaron knew better than to celebrate too soon. The Zoran Empire would not forget a defeat so easily, and their retaliation would be stronger, faster, and more cunning. The next morning, the sisters gathered Aaron in the command hall. Their faces were serious, and tension hung in the air. "They will return," Seren said quietly, "sooner than we expect, and this time they will bring more ships, more firepower." Nyla tapped her glowing pad. "I've analyzed the energy patterns from last night. The Zoran learned something. They adjusted their formation and shield usage. If we do the same thing again, it won't work." Vera folded her arms. "Then we need a new plan. Aaron, you must think of something that even they cannot predict." Aaron ran a hand through his hair, staring at the schematics projected on the wall. "Okay, let's think differently. Last night we used defense first, distraction second, and strikes last. What if we reverse it this time? What if we attack the problem before they even arrive?" Seren raised an eyebrow. "Go on." Aaron pointed to a cluster of small asteroids near the edge of the system. "We can use them as carriers. Instead of just shielding, we'll attach energy bursts and propulsion devices. When the Zoran enter our space, we release them. The rocks move toward the enemy fleet automatically, creating chaos and forcing them to scatter before they reach the city." Nyla's eyes sparkled. "It's brilliant, unpredictable and hard to counter, but it will take careful timing." Vera's voice was firm. "And the city? If something goes wrong?" Aaron nodded. "We'll still keep the inner asteroid shield and decoys in place. Safety first. This is a calculated risk, not a gamble." For the next several hours, the sisters and Aaron worked tirelessly. Nyla programmed the propulsion devices, Vera trained, the warriors for rapid response, and Seren coordinated communication between all city sectors. Aaron moved between teams, offering advice, correcting mistakes, and encouraging everyone. As the twin suns began to set, a red glow appeared on the horizon. The Zoran fleet had returned, larger and more threatening than before. Aaron's stomach tightened, but he forced himself to stay calm. "Release the carriers," he ordered. Tiny asteroids shot forward, glowing faintly as energy bursts lit up their surfaces. The Zoran fleet hesitated, caught off guard by the unexpected attack. Some ships collided with the moving rocks, others tried to dodge, creating disarray in their formation. Aaron shouted instructions. "Warriors, move to flank positions! Focus on disabled ships first. Nyla, adjust the next wave of asteroids. The sisters executed the plan flawlessly. Nyla's calculations ensured the energy bursts struck precisely, while Vera's squads captured or neutralized enemy scouts. Seren's coordination kept the city safe, while the remaining Zoran ships struggled to regain order. But the enemy, Commander, was clever. He regrouped and launched a concentrated attack on the asteroid carriers. Explosions lit the sky as rocks shattered, sending debris in all directions. The Zoran fleet pressed forward, determined not to be stopped again. Aaron's heart pounded. Hold positions! Use the decoys! Lead them away from the city! The young warriors moved quickly, drawing the Zoran ships toward false targets. Aaron noticed one ship breaking formation and heading straight for the city's energy core. Without thinking, he grabbed a control pad and redirected a nearby asteroid carrier. The rock slammed into the enemy vessel, disabling its engines just in time. "Nice work!" Nyla shouted, her excitement mixing with relief. Vera clapped a warrior on the shoulder. "That was close! Too close! But the plan worked!" Seren looked at Aaron, her eyes full of admiration. "You saved us all. Again." Aaron exhaled deeply, feeling the tension leave his body. "We saved ourselves. Everyone did their part. I just pointed a few directions." The Zoran fleet, now scattered and confused, retreated into space. The city had survived again, thanks to human ingenuity and the combined efforts of the sisters and their warriors. Later, as the city settled into quiet, Aaron walked along the walls, watching the stars. Leora appeared beside him, her expression a mixture of awe and gratitude. "You keep surprising me, Aaron," she said softly. "Every time you find a way to turn danger into hope." Aaron smiled faintly. "I just think differently. That's all humans can do sometimes. Look at problems in a way no one expects." Seren, Nyla, and Vera soon joined them. Together they looked out at the horizon, knowing that the Zoran Empire would return and the battles ahead would be even more dangerous. But for the first time, Aaron felt a real sense of belonging. He was not just an outsider anymore. He was part of this world, part of their fight, part of their hope. And as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, he realized something else. He had grown, not just as a human, but as a leader. The real challenge was only beginning. The city was quiet, but the calm was deceptive. Aaron stood at the highest observation tower, staring into the dark expanse of space. The Zoran Empire had retreated twice, but he knew their next attack would be the most dangerous yet. Seren joined him silently. "You think they'll come back stronger?" she asked. Aaron nodded. "Yes, and this time they'll learn from their mistakes. We need a plan that can survive anything they throw at us." Nyla approached, holding her glowing pad, filled with schematics. "I've analyzed their tactics from the last two battles. They're clever, but they have patterns. They respond to obstacles, but they don't improvise well. That could be our advantage." Vera appeared, her expression serious. "Then we use their weakness against them. Aaron, you'll lead the strategy?" Aaron took a deep breath. "Yes, but this time, we combine everything we've learned. Defense, distractions, attacks, and a surprise they won't expect." The sisters gathered the city's forces and began preparing. The asteroid shields were stronger and layered in multiple. Orbits, decoys, were placed in new patterns to confuse enemy sensors even more. But Aaron's favorite part of the plan was the surprise: a fleet of modified ships, small but fast, controlled remotely and ready to strike where the Zoran least expected. When the twin suns began to set. The first glimmers of the Zoran fleet appeared on the horizon. They came in perfect formation, larger and more organized than before. Aaron felt his heart pound but reminded himself, fear wouldn't help. Clear thinking would. "Release the outer asteroid shields first," Aaron ordered. The massive rocks moved with precision, intercepting the Zoran fleet's long-range energy blasts. Many ships slowed, collided, or veered off course. Now the decoys! Nyla shouted. Bright holographic projections lit up the city, drawing enemy fire away from key areas. Confused, the Zoran commander changed formation repeatedly, unable to anticipate the next move. Aaron activated the surprise fleet. Tiny, swift ships darted toward the enemy from unexpected angles, striking weak points and then disappearing before the Zoran could retaliate. Explosions and energy bursts lit the dark sky as the battle intensified. Vera led the city warriors on coordinated strikes, neutralizing enemy boarding parties and capturing damaged ships. Serene oversaw the city's energy shields, adjusting them in real time to protect civilians and maintain stability. Amid the chaos, Aaron noticed the Zoran commander attempting a risky maneuver, an energy beam directed straight at the city's core. His heart raced. "Nyla, redirect the carriers!" he yelled. Nyla's fingers flew across the pad. A small asteroid carrier changed course, intercepting the energy beam just in time. The beam detonated harmlessly in space, scattering fragments of rock and energy. "Nice timing," Seren called, watching the controlled chaos. The battle raged. For hours, each side testing the other's strength and ingenuity. But the Zoran ships were losing coordination. Their formations broke apart, some ships damaged or captured. Aran realized the moment had come for the final strike. "Converge on the enemy command ship," he shouted. "All forces, focus on their leader." The sisters and the warriors executed the plan perfectly. The modified ships attacked from multiple directions, drawing the commander's defenses thin. At the same time, the city's warriors and decoys forced the rest of the fleet to scatter, leaving the commander isolated. With careful precision, Aaron guided a small asteroid carrier to collide with the command ship's engines. The impact disabled it completely, forcing the remaining Zoran ships to retreat. The fleet broke off in disarray, fleeing back into deep space. The city erupted in cheers. Lights shone brighter than ever, signaling victory and relief. The sisters hugged Aaron, grateful and proud. "You did it, Aaron," Leora said softly. "You saved us all." Aaron shook his head, smiling tiredly. "We did it together. I just helped think of ways to use what we had." Seren approached, her silver hair glinting in the starlight. "Your human thinking, your courage, your quick decisions, they change the outcome. You are not just a visitor here, Aaron. You are one of us now." Nyla laughed, hugging him. "And the Zoran won't forget this human genius." Vera grinned. "Next time they might try even harder, but for now, we celebrate." That night, the city lit up in celebration. Music and laughter echoed through the streets. Citizens danced, warriors shared stories of bravery, and the sisters watched over everyone, proud of the teamwork that had saved their world. Aaron looked at the twin suns rising over the horizon, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. He had arrived as a stranger, a human far from home, but he had become part of a new family, a protector of a world that had welcomed him. And as he stood there, surrounded by the sisters in the city he helped save, he realized something important. Courage, ingenuity, and friendship were stronger than any enemy, no matter how powerful. The Zoran Empire had been defeated, but more importantly, Aaron had proven that even a single human mind could make a difference, changing the fate of a world and leaving a legacy of hope. For Aaron, for the sisters, and for the city, the future was bright and filled with endless possibilities.